This is In the Middle with Josh and Sarah Siders. We get it. You're probably going through something that's asking you to dig deep, think differently, and hold on against the odds.
So these are our thoughts about starting new things, shutting some things down, and being with you right there in the middle.
Welcome back to the In the Middle podcast, the podcast for those of us who haven't arrived yet. I'm Sarah.
I'm Josh. Good to have you all with us.
Yes, we have a very special topic today, but before we get into that, we have some sponsors.
Sponsors? Yeah.
I don't know. Do we have more than one?
We could have more than one.
I thought we had more than one.
Okay. Yeah. So we have multiple sponsors today.
Do you like this? Whoever you are, sponsors, apparently you just signed up for this.
Yeah.
Even though you didn't know.
Sponsors.
Thank you.
Each getting a piece of the pie. There you go. Okay.
Yes.
Our first sponsor today
is
Mood Swing Amusement Park.
Oh my God.
One ride, endless emotions. Buckle up. You're happy. You're furious. You're crying. You're fine.
Wow. I'm so glad they have that for men.
Yes.
You guys really need that.
Yes, it's for the men. Oh,
I know it is.
Which brings up our second sponsor. You ready for this one? Uh-huh. This is for men.
Okay.
The second sponsor is the You're Glowing Compliment Generator. Because sweaty and irritated doesn't sound as supportive as it feels.
To the man.
To the man. Yes.
Sweaty. Hun, you seem sweaty and irritated. And then the compliment generator's like,
Yeah, exactly.
You're glowing. You're like, you know what?
What?
We've been with you men long enough that we still want to flip you off when you say that.
That's true.
Because we know. Because we untranslate it in our head. When we're sweaty and irritated, we're like, glowing? What is that supposed to mean?
So we need our sponsor to work a little bit harder for us.
Yeah. Does that translator come with like a gift basket? Like I need it to come with a gift basket.
It needs to come with a helmet, I think, for the men.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm afraid of a gift basket would be just chucked back at us.
You know, I mean, we make jokes about the midlife women's rage, but it's real.
It's real.
It's real. And people need to be appropriately intimidated by it.
Yeah. And appropriately informed.
Informed.
Which brings up our topic for today.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is
you are getting.
This is a pop quiz. This is a menopause pop quiz.
Yes.
Administered, proctored by you, my wife, Sarah.
Yes.
Yeah,
so for all the men out there who feel like they're hearing about menopause, perimenopause for the first time, even though maybe they've been married or they've had a mom or a sister or a friend or a coworker, we're all getting caught up. Okay.
Yeah.
So to
Thank
be
you.
fair,
Thank you.
we need to put the caveat out there that the new Menopause just came out this year. How to Menopause came out this year. The M Factor documentary, the first of its kind, came out this year.
Yeah.
And it was so uncommon that they let it serve as CEUs for doctors.
Wow.
And health practitioners, because there's nothing like it.
So it's really informative, really like groundbreaking stuff as far as the conversation, moving that forward.
Yes. And so the reason that we're like, doing a perimenopause, menopause health exam or, assessment here is because, we could say, well, can we do it in reverse? And we'll ask Sarah questions about what it's like.
Right.
And maybe we'll do that. But part of the reason is like, medical research and data that's been gathered over the decades was done on men because women were,
what is going on with these guys?
We didn't want to know, women childbearing.
Yeah.
We weren't going to experiment with future generations essentially.
Sure.
So you have all this data about metabolism and medication and all of that, lifespan longevity. And it was all from men's bodies and the testosterone and all of that. And so now we are getting caught up on research for women, and we're getting caught up on, the background, the knowledge, even OBGYNs on menopause and perimenopause. So everyone is getting caught up. And so that is why it is okay if you are still getting caught up yourself. So this conversation should be mostly humorous.
Yeah, I'm in the hot seat, so you don't have to be.
The hot seat.
You're welcome, dudes.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my goodness.
Okay. And shout out to Hanson Minaj, right?
Yes, Hassan Minaj. with Holly Berry, who did this. He braved it, and Hassan is like known for knowing. He's got an answer for everything. So the fact that he was willing to do this, and then he was surprised, right? He didn't know.
Right.
So shout out to him. And definitely go watch that episode. You can see a clip of it on Instagram. It's probably on YouTube. But it's so great and funny, and he's hilarious. So check it out. We're just going to get started with the first question. Let's just define things.
Okay.
Let's just get in there and define things a little bit. So what is menopause?
That's a great question. I'd like to phone a friend.
You could phone your 8th grade son who sat on this couch and asked the question. Do you remember this?
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, this has been a topic in our...
You guys, this was a very funny moment. Do you remember this?
Vaguely. Yeah. I think I blocked it from my memory.
Okay. So I'll tell you what menopause is not. Menopause is not a Pokemon.
Okay, I do remember this.
So my son is sitting here on the couch with his health exam.
Yeah.
And he is like, it's biology, men and women's.
Right.
So I'm in the kitchen cooking, and he says, "Mom, what's menopause?" Like he needs to fill it in,
Yeah.
And I was like, well, and I answered it. Ha, trick. I'm not answering.
I was waiting.
So then he goes, "Oh, I thought it was a Pokemon." And I lost it, of course. But then I thought, there's no way this is a Pokemon. Like, are you kidding me? But it is. It's a Pokemon that trolls women in midlife. And it's spelled MENNOPAWS. Go check it out, you guys. It is hilarious and offensive at the same time. But it was very funny. And so that's like forever.
Is it like
in
the
our
first form is
vernacular.
this like really cutesy sort of figure, and the final form is this like...
It's cheerly and cheerific, and Pokemon evolve.
Right, there you go.
It evolves from cheerly and cheerific, which are like little cheerleader Pokemon. They're very cute and blonde.
Yeah.
And then it turns into a monster
Yeah.
whose power is anger and intimidation. And it happens at level 42. So Anyway, go check it out. It is a green monster.
Life.
Yep. And I was like, I can say that
he was right about it. That's
what is like? It's on his health exam, you guys. Like, how could the answer be a Pokemon, right? Like, why would it be on your? Why would it be on
the health exam?
Right.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, fun question
what a
time.
Coincidence. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, I loved that he said that, and that's gonna be in like the top 10 Ciders family memories.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Anyway,
yeah.
So guys, menopause is not a Pokemon. Just take that right out of your brain.
Take it off your health exam.
It is also a Pokemon.
Yeah.
But what is it?
It's known as the second puberty. It's where women's bodies and temperaments are changing in response to hormone fluctuations.
Yes.
And eventually where childbearing years come to an end.
And so, like, what's happening? Like, childbearing years come to an end because of what? Like, what's the significant thing that happens?
I'd like to phone a friend.
Don't call your son. Okay. So I'll answer.
This is so awkward.
Is it?
So awkward.
It's just a body part.
It's just one?
It's like a bunch of them. It's all the body parts. Anyway, but yes, childbearing years come to an end. Oh my gosh. So discreet. So respectful.
You're welcome.
So, okay. So this is awesome. All right. So before I answer that, I'll fill this in. But like, what is perimenopause then?
It's before.
It's Perry.
Like,
Perry.
Phineas and Ferb. There's a platypus is gonna. So a platypus
Menopause,
shows up,
but like a platypus.
Yeah. Pokes out and taps you on the shoulder, and
It is
silently gestures that you're about to enter menopause.
Oh my God. Wow, guys, he needs. All right. So menopause is where you have at the point at which a woman has not had her cycle for a full year. So yes, end of childbearing years. Why? Because your uterus is not shedding its lining, right?
Is it dying?
Okay. No. It's still in there.
What a relief.
But the ovaries are not producing those hormones anymore.
Right.
And sending there's no more eggs. There's no more possibility of having
The Easter Bunny.
children. Wow. The Easter Bunny. You guys, he's having too much fun. Like, this is not an acceptable amount of fun.
This is awkward humor.
Too much fun. Take this seriously. I'm just kidding.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's what menopause is, right?
Okay.
And then perimenopause is the period before that.
Got it.
Which more questions are related with this, so I'm not going to say too much.
Okay.
But yes, the period leading up to menopause, and most people historically have just thought like menopause is, sometime in your 50s or 60s.
Yeah.
And you're old.
Right.
And that's it, right? And it's just like
Right.
it like happens to you suddenly or something.
Right.
This is what I mean. Literally, women who are in women's bodies for however many decades, at least in the modern culture, we thought this.
Okay.
So we're all getting caught up. Okay. So, what are 5 common symptoms that women start to experience in perimenopause? Up to 5. Go.
If you don't hear from me
Are you sending help?
in the next week, send help, please.
If we don't hear from you the next week, we're calling Domino's. Do you remember that from Half Baked? I'm sorry. But we really are going to call Domino's.
Yeah.
Like, the kids actually
probably
want
tonight.
it. Okay.
So 5 things.
5 things that happen, common symptoms.
happen.
Like women are experiencing. They're in perimenopause.
Perimenopause.
Yeah, like go leading up to it. Yep.
How are you feeling today?
Well,
Can you name 5 things?
If
that
you can name,
feel-
nice. How I'm feeling depends on your answer. Volatility.
This is me blinking twice for
Blinking
help.
for help. Hassan was way braver.
There's hot flashes.
Yeah.
Irritability. I think
You've heard of.
I've heard of.
2.
Score.
I mean, you have to get up to 5. I don't do your best. Are you
I
doing
really
your best?
don't want to say anymore. Don't want to do it. I value my marriage.
No, this is the thing with
too
Hassan.
much.
He doesn't live with Holly Berry, right? So he's
Yeah.
he can fire stuff off and then be like, and then he can leave the studio.
Yeah.
Too bad.
Yeah. Or call security.
You
or,
can't.
whatever.
You
I
can't
don't-
leave the studio.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
Okay. So you can be like, because I know it's kind of like, oh, you live with me, but you're also like speaking for possibly like all women or whatever. Not
No.
speaking for women, but you know what I mean. Like it's like, oh,
I learned a lot to do that during
No, you
Me
learned.
Too and all those things.
and all the other times, right? Yeah, no mansplaining. You can't mansplain perimenopause. It's just kind of like stuff you've heard of or stuff you know. Is there anything else? It's okay. Because literally, again, everyone just learned this.
Hormone fluctuation.
Yeah. Yes.
Sweet.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Think back to all the reels that find you on the Instagram Explore page.
Oh man, I tell you, their weight fluctuation,
dude.
energy fluctuation.
Weight and energy for sure. Yep.
Okay.
I'll give you 5 on that. I think. I mean, come
Okay.
on, guys. Don't you think that was good? And do you like how he goes weight fluctuation? And I'm like, yes. Suddenly, I'm losing weight.
Yes. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
That is not what happened. Yeah. We could also say back fat. Like literally, like what? Like no one.
You can't see it, but it's there following you around.
Many following me around for real. I saw a really funny Holderness family video they were doing, and it was about it was a shower for perimenopause, and they were like handing her different gifts. And one of them was like shapewear, and she was like, "Yeah, I'm back fat now." Like it was hilarious. I was like,
a menopause shower? That's a great idea.
Wasn't it really funny?
That's cool. I haven't seen that, but it just occurs to me of like we celebrate transitions, so that's
I know.
Kind of a cool
and
idea.
I think that probably like some cultures have done this before, right? Like cultures that were more, I don't know if it was like matriarchal per se, but maybe more like communal, multi-generational. They would have that information.
And we live in such a like youth-oriented, youth worship culture.
Yes.
In other cultures, I could imagine it. You're passing into eldership or sageship, and celebrating that passage rather than trying to pay money to look younger or something. You know?
Well,
so, anyway,
yes, exactly.
It's a rabbit hole,
in a culture like ours, that stage where like I don't know, for whatever reason, it's youth, but it's also childbearing years. You are kind of like valued by society because of that. Yeah. And then in the non-multi-generational, like where you have like a nuclear family, and you kind of like forget your elders, or like they, you know, oh, well, you can't produce anymore. Maybe it's a production-based society. Yeah. Then the person who's not producing, who's like the institutional wisdom or the family wisdom, that person isn't as valued in that culture. Yeah. And so I think a lot of the Gen Xers and millennials are really trying to reclaim that. Yeah. The elder, right? Right. Which is really cool. I really love that.
Yes.
So 3 hormones. I accidentally said this to you this morning, and then I regretted it.
Yeah, I think I'm ready for it.
3 hormones that fluctuate significantly, the primary hormones that fluctuate during perimenopause.
Progesterone, estrogen, testosterone.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. I did.
You did it.
I have a good memory.
You have a good memory
within 12 hours.
Right. Short-term memory. Good job. Yes, those are going all over the place. And little science lesson for some of you. First of all, follow Dr. Mary Claire Haver, because she's going to have some great visuals and reels on this. But when women are going through their normal cycles, you have like the monthly hormone, like where you have the high estrogen mid-cycle, and then, you know, low at like all the hormones drop right before the uterus sheds its lining. And you just go through that cycle, and it's pretty consistent, right? Of course, during pregnancy, again, pretty consistent. But she calls it the zone of chaos in perimenopause.
I feel that.
And do you? Say more about that.
I mean, I feel it in an empathetic way for you.
Good answer. So anyway, zone of chaos, like, you know, sometimes the estrogen is really high mid-cycle, sometimes it's really low. It's just like, instead of going like this pretty consistently, it's kind of doing all of this. Yeah. And so it does that through perimenopause, however long that lasts. Yeah. And you can say how long that lasts in a moment. And then once you get to menopause, those drop significantly. And then they're like constant, but very low compared to what they were before. So, average age. What is the average age that a lot of women tend to start perimenopause?
42.
The meaning of life?
Yes. That's my
From
final
Hitchhiker's
answer.
Guide to the Galaxy. Because of the menopause Pokemon?
I don't
no, so
don't
42 is it would be like a good maybe average. So
for real? Is that the right answer?
It could be. It can be even earlier. So do you have any idea on like the average age of when menopause starts for women?
48.
Okay, no.
45.
No. 55.
55.
55 is like average. 50,
Got it.
Mid 50s. So
I was gonna go higher, but it didn't feel right. I was wrong.
Yeah. So mid 50s is when early to mid 50s is kind of the average.
Got it.
Perimenopause can begin as early as 10 years before. So if a woman's going to go through menopause in her 40s, late 40s, you're going to have perimenopause symptoms as early as 30s.
Yeah.
And this is just something that like women didn't realize, right? We just thought we were childbearing potential until menopause, and then boom, we just didn't know.
Yeah.
So shout out to Gina. She was one of our main contributors in the Flourish community for questions. So I want to give her some credit
That's
for some
great.
of these
Wow.
questions. Thanks
Thank
to
you.
Gina.
Thanks a lot, Gina. Appreciate that a lot.
We also consulted chat. We've consulted
Yeah.
my brain. So there's a conglomeration
There's
here.
a stew of mischief.
Yeah, the stew of mischief. Yes. So the average age is a funny one.
Okay.
There's this chat GPT came up with some funny ones here.
Oh, great.
Okay. So true or false?
Yeah.
Perimenopause can mess with your sleep, memory, periods, and your ability to not cry at dog food commercials. True or false?
True.
True. Very true. It does mess with all of that. But it does feel like a little bit like PMS, kind of like that raw.
Yeah.
So like what I've said for years before I even was doing this work, I would always say alcohol and hormones speak the truth. Now in kind of like an unfiltered way, like not necessarily a nice way, but
all the husband said,
Amen. So women would come into my office and we would be, working on therapy. We would be working on an issue. And then how they would feel about that issue right before their cycle would be like way more raw, way more intense, a lot more anxiety, a lot more anger, like, just this feeling would be way more intense.
Yeah.
And so then we would be like, hey, is that connected with your cycle?
Yeah.
So with perimenopause, you do see more of that. You do see more of that like raw kind of feeling.
Yeah.
So question, why is it that women tend to have more irritability? Like do you know any of this so far? It's fine if you don't, but more irritability, mood shifts, but kind of that irritability or like, I'm just going to say what I'm thinking kind of in this phase of life. Is that just a life phase thing? Or what is that?
Let's hope not. Let's fix it. Is it something to do with hormones and brain chemistry? There's something that shifts there. Is there a truth serum that gets released?
Right. Well,
is there a perpetual festivus? I got a lot of problems with you people.
No, it is the perpetual. No, I think we mentioned the perpetual festivus in one of the previous episodes because it is definitely that. But yeah. So basically, our estrogen and progesterone are known as caregiving hormones. They make you care. They make you give.
We like those.
Give a care.
Give a care.
Give a care.
Please.
Oh no, I don't. I used to.
Yeah, used to.
So.
Oh yeah.
We spend the first, we're going to have to do another one on this, but you spend basically women spend the first 35, 40 years of their life, like caring about other people's opinions in a way that creates a lot of anxiety, wanting to fit in, worried about people's health, worried about the future, worried, anxious, very anxious. And then there's these shifts that start to happen. And part of it is the hormones, caregiving hormones going down. But we also just like get worn out by that anxiety.
Yeah.
And so we shift into anger.
Okay.
We shift into firing stuff off. And it's like, it feels like the filter isn't there. So many women I talk to are like, the filter's just not there. Like I used to filter through like, what would make this person feel okay? And so a lot of actually, this is really, again, for a future conversation, a lot of divorces and relationship stress happens at this point because the women who were anxious about the relationship and who might seek repair are now annoyed, irritated, frustrated, ragey about the dynamic, about things they've been tolerating. And they're like, nope, I'm not tolerating this anymore.
I've heard of that.
You've heard that this happens?
Yeah, I've heard of that.
You've heard?
Those poor bastards.
Clearly, that's one, a cry for help, or two, a statement of self-pity. Both.
It's just truth.
I know. It's true, though, right? Like, there was these points over the last, I don't know, 6 to 8 years, where I was like, before I used to kind of like, care more about like harmony seeking.
Yeah, right.
And then eventually I was like, nope.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, this is how it is.
This is new.
Yeah. And I was, because it's like, I would spend so much time trying to, the harmony felt so important.
Yeah.
And then eventually it was like, no, I want to be heard or whatever.
I miss those days.
Yeah. This is.
No, but there was a shift though. Because I remember, I just remember there had been some problematic relationships that I was, in the past you would really encourage reconciliation and empathy. And then it wasn't like a switch got flipped, but then I just remember similar situations and you were like, yep, that's problematic. We should deal with that, or
I was kind of more black and white.
I'm like, you agree with me? Like, oh,
yeah,
that's kind of nice.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I remember you like noticing that.
Yeah.
And that was where, for me, I realized like I shifted from the anxiety and the harmony seeking in relationships, whether it was family or friends, and like going out of my way to kind of accommodate people.
Right.
And then it was at that point where I really felt like that was the year in 2019 where my brain broke because there was so much going on and so much being asked of me.
And so you've mentioned women in their mid 30s who get really, it's like they start trying to implement boundaries. They get angry about boundary violations, violations.
Yes.
And it's like watching that happen with different people. It's like a thing, and that's normal. So it's good to know.
Yes. It is good to know. And I think it's one of these things where it's like, when we think about human development and you go, oh, the job of a toddler is autonomy. They need to feel like they can do it. The job of an adolescent is like belonging and a little bit of conformity, like coming to understand themselves as a part of a group, right?
Yeah.
Independence as a young adult. So there's these jobs of life stages. And I think like the job of someone who's becoming older is to become an elder.
Yeah.
But like in order to pass on wisdom, you need to be able to challenge the status quo. And like I think someone who is really, reserved or harmony seeking is not going to be willing to do, risk that conflict. So for women's caregiving hormones to go down, it puts us in a position to confront, maybe very directly, very intensely, or maybe more gently, however we do it, but we're able to do that. We're able to see things, I think, more clearly. But it's very disruptive for everyone
it really
for a
is.
while. It's very disruptive, right?
Yeah, it is. But I think overall good. I think overall it's a really good thing. So
no, I totally agree. So there's some fun. Yeah, there's some more funny things in here.
Okay.
So Gina had a great question. What are some things women can do to feel better during perimenopause? Some like treatments. Look at your eyebrows. The eyebrows are giving them away.
You want me to tell you what women should do to feel better?
Like treatments that you might have heard of that women are doing. You probably know one of them that I just
silent retreats.
Where we're quiet or everyone else is quiet.
Yes.
One of the things you can do, we can do to feel better is telling everyone to chew with their mouth closed.
And stop snoring.
No snoring. The dog, why is the dog sneezing? Stop sneezing. Everybody. It's like all this.
Quit chewing with your mouth open. I'm in another room.
Quit chewing with your mouth closed.
Just quit chewing. Quit breathing.
Quit thinking those thoughts. I can hear you thinking. Yeah. Things that
women buy some noise canceling headphones. I think that would
get your own mother-in-law cottage and then move into it.
Then move into it.
Okay, no, for real though.
Yeah, she shed whatever.
Oh
all
my
those things.
gosh.
I think I think self-care is a big thing.
Yeah.
So I think what I've heard is it could be taking up some kind of physical activity. It could be yoga.
Yes.
The gym, learning maybe a new physical activity, like take up swimming or cycling or something like that.
Yeah.
Like I think some of the pent up energy, if that's the right way to say it, needs an outlet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so finding an outlet that can help maybe physical activity and maybe challenging your mind to learn something new would be really good.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Those are good.
Okay.
I mean,
yeah.
like, theoretically, those are just like standard self-care, but
yes.
the way that they apply at this time. So, in the morning, I've had to shift my nutrition, right?
Yes.
Like what's that one thing that
you gotta
I'm
get
making
protein.
Sure? Protein.
Protein
right.
first thing in the morning.
And like everyone.
And I mean fat too, like good fats,
yes,
like
yes.
butter, oil,
yes.
eggs. That's what you do.
Yep, do that, and that
like
is what I do.
I make sure you have enough eggs. I don't know if
Which
you know
I
that.
really appreciate.
I just check in and, I went and got butter today.
Dang,
I'm not trying to brag.
so
I'm just like,
supportive.
there are things husbands you can do to make your life easier. Just paying a little attention.
Yes.
Make sure your wife has coffee and
it's
protein and
the
fats.
vital collagen or vital collagen proteins.
Collagen, the amazing greens.
The different kinds of things that
absolutely.
Because
there's also, you have a routine you want to stick to
Yep.
that I think is really like I found in midlife, having a routine so I don't have to like recreate my day every day from scratch.
Yeah.
But like, this is what I do. This is my pattern. It brings me peace and rest and it gets me ready for the day.
Yes.
So I think not to hijack you tell me about that, but there are things that go a long way.
Yes, absolutely. I appreciate that. And as for people who with ADHD like me, and in perimenopause where those focus hormones like estrogen are down, makes it even harder. Mm-hmm. So keeping a routine is hard. And then if something like, circumstantial, like, oh, we're out of this, now what do I do? Like, I don't have a backup plan that's solid yet. I'm still working out the collagen stuff, but getting protein first thing in the morning, I've had to make that change over the last year. I was doing intermittent fasting. Mm-hmm. And so I would do like greens and coffee before noon. Mm-hmm. And, I was getting all this acid. I was like, what's going on? And my friend who's, Felicia with Vitality Nutrition, there you go. She's functional. She's awesome. And she was like, hey, you need protein in the morning, sister. Quit drinking coffee on an empty stomach. Ooh, yeah. And honestly, that has made a huge difference. I have had some like a little bit of weight loss over the last year. And it's just helped in general with a lot of things. So protein is really big. In terms of like the energy piece, I hadn't put this together, but we really get into like when estrogen goes down, it affects a lot of different things in the body, which is part of a different question. But we do get into where we need to do strength training. Mm-hmm. So instead of just cardio, we actually need to lift more. So the walking and
use
things
it
are
or
good.
lose it at this stage of life.
It can be, yes. Mm-hmm. So that is that's a big thing. And then hormone replacement therapies are really big. Women may need to do labs to see where their levels are, but some doctors will just use symptom sets and kind of prescribe like estrogen and progesterone or just progesterone. So I've been talking to tons of women that have been starting that, and those have been some really good things that women can do. So that we're not trying to answer all of those things, but for that question, like what are some things you can do? But those are things literally going forward from perimenopause on. Protein, hormone replacement therapies, strength training are just going to be things that you are going to need for sure. Yeah. So when we think about the hormones that we've been talking about, progesterone, estrogen, testosterone, those are known as sex hormones. We didn't know how many places those, like in the body, those affect. So what are some places that in a woman's body that you would be like, that I don't know if you know, but like surprising places, because you might go sex hormones, reproductive system, that's where it is. But in reality, it shows up and affects a lot more than that. What else would you say?
Emotional regulation.
Nice.
Kind of touched on that.
I like how that was the first thing that you went for. Moodiness.
I said emotional regulation.
Oh, I untranslated that. Remember? I untranslated that in my head and still figured out how to be insulted. Do you like that? That was good.
I'm used to it.
Yeah. That was good.
I think like skeletal structure integrity, like bone density, things like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Low
Muscle.
estrogen. Yes.
Muscle,
yes. Especially bone health. Major.
Yeah.
Yep. Any others?
Memory.
Yeah. Yes. Memory, focus. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So a large number, I don't remember the stat. High number, 2/3.
Which is
of that is ironic. 2/3, I think, of Alzheimer's patients are women.
Wow.
And so we're seeing now that dementia and Alzheimer's has a significant relationship to the decline of sex hormones in menopause.
That's interesting.
When women are not on hormone replacement therapies to help deliver more consistent hormones at that point, they end up with significant cognitive impairments at times. Some women, not all women, we experience it differently, right?
Okay.
That should have been one of my questions, guys. Is menopause the same experience for everyone?
No.
But the answer is no. And so, like, somebody might experience significant bone density or cardiovascular. Another thing that so related with cognitive, there are a ton of estrogen receptors, sex hormone receptors in the brain. And of course, the brain is an endocrine organ, right?
Of course. I'm
So
agreeing.
do you
I'm
like,
agreeing
look
with
at
you.
him? He's agreeing. Do you like how I'm annoyed that he's agreeing? He can't win. He can't win. Anyway, but there are all these endocrine receptors or sex hormone receptors in the brain, which is like, again, people just didn't it's like, of course, but like, whoa, right? So like, women's heart health, women are far more likely after menopause to have cardiovascular issues and heart disease.
Yeah.
So it's your heart, it's your bone density, it's your brain and your memory. All of that is affected by this significant drop in these sex hormones. And so, that's where these replacement therapies have come in. And, for women that I know who are, in way into menopause, and who have been on replacement therapies, it has actually been incredible what that's done for them and how that's helped them with like mood stabilization, overall health, maybe even not having hot flashes. I mean, just, it's really incredible. Not everyone is going to be a good candidate. So some people have certain genetic predispositions where doing an estrogen replacement therapy is actually going to predispose them toward breast cancer. So sometimes doing some testing on that can be important, but that possibility, that very rare possibility, was kind of what scared people off from what I'm remembering. And it's like most women are actually going to need some kind of replacement in order to maintain heart health, bone density, cognitive function. So anyway, that's something that, is worth talking with your primary care or your OBGYN about, no matter where you're at in this process. If you're in your 30s and you're starting to see these fluctuations. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Right. Okay. let's see what else we got here.
We might even need to consider wrapping up.
We got to wrap up.
Yeah.
I really do love this torture session. I mean, question assessment.
Yes.
Thank
you.
So a fun one.
Okay.
Which you kind of, touched on. But why might your partner, midlife female partner, wife, sister, friend, coworker, suddenly take up a new hobby? Want to consider reinventing themselves. They get a new hairstyle. They want to move. They, again, like we talked about, sometimes there's divorce, right? Or major things. What's that about?
I would say there is a rediscovery in midlife.
Yeah.
And the tendency to people please and do what others want you to do is challenged internally. And so a woman may feel like, I've always wanted to fill in the blank, and then finally does it.
Yeah. Yep. Yes, that's so good. It's so it's like there's this caregiving hormones go down. Caregiving roles change, right?
Yeah,
so sometimes you're not
kids are getting older.
Parenting.
Yeah.
You might be caring for aging parents, but often there's like a little window where you're not doing that. And it is interesting how some of the things you like loved when you were younger, these like parts of your personality that you felt like you couldn't really explore or develop, they often come out at that point. Yes. And you're like, oh, and I remember, at the beginning of the year, we talked about it on a previous episode about like these parallel lives, like what would I have been? What could I have been? In these other universes, what would I do? And so many of those weren't like, I'm in a caregiving, industry. And it was like the things that I would do were like in creative and arts or in like adventure. And it was like, oh, that's interesting. Yeah. That's interesting that that's my other self.
Yeah.
And so I'm interested to see how that shows up.
I think there's also this phenomenon with men and women in midlife where they have built up the ego strength or their sense of self to confront their shadows and all the projection and transference either onto them or onto other people. So that, let's say, you went to nursing school and you find out like, my drive for doing that was my parents always wanted me to be in healthcare because they were in healthcare. Or my dad died when I was young. And so now I'm in a health providing field because I'm just trying to heal my dad,
Oh,
and so you just in midlife, you maybe have that bandwidth or time or inner strength to actually confront like, why am I doing the things that I'm doing?
Right.
And so pair that with all the changes that women are experiencing. They may finally have the space to explore like, what is it that I really want to do outside of anything anyone else wanted me to do? So I know we're kind of saying the same things, but there's a psychological depth or explanation to it too.
Yeah. Yes. I think that's one of the things that has fascinated me the most about this moment of like the chrysalis, the metamorphosis of midlife, and how it's unique to women is that there's this intersection that's hormonal, physiological, and it's time-based, like developmental, it's relational, and sociocultural. There's so many layers of it that happen, and it is unique for women. And so if we use the data from men's experiences or men's medical research to inform how women will experience this stage of life, it's like we are able to bear children for 30 to 40 years, and thank God that opportunity / burden isn't on us in our 50s and 60s and beyond. It's so amazing that role gets to shift for us. It's such a gift that we get to like change our identity. I love that. And I love that about our experience. I think that's so cool. And so instead of seeing it as like, menopause, hot flashes, stereotypes, ragey women, and all the different things, although it can be funny, I really do see it as an incredible opportunity to, be free of some of the old roles and compulsions and start to allow a truer self to emerge. So it's really exciting. And, this is something I like, we really do need to talk about this experience for men, even though it might not be hot seat for me, although you should totally put me on the hot seat if you want to. It'd be funny. Right. But just talking about what it's like for men, because it is different. This podcast is about the conversations of where we have these shared experiences.
Right.
But there's also some really unique and distinct experiences that men have. And I think it's worth exploring that. So anyways, yeah. Well, before we get into our rapid fire questions, thanks to Josh for being on the menopause assessment exam a la Hassan Minaj, for taking one for the men.
You're welcome, dudes.
Amazing. I think we've probably
from my mistakes, please.
Learned a lot today. And even everything I said, you guys, there could be some of the stuff that's still being corrected, or I didn't get all my science perfectly right, but these are all things I've learned in the last year, and many people have learned in the last few years. So again, we're going to give ourselves a little bit of room for growth in this topic. So rapid fire questions.
What are you reading, watching, listening to?
I've got I don't remember. I just downloaded something to my Kindle. And I was like, what is it?
What is it?
And I was going to try to remember what it was.
Okay.
And I'm totally blanking right now. Oh, it's Life Reimagined. Oh. It is I've been really fascinated with this ever since we did the Reinventing Yourself episode a few episodes ago. I'm just really fascinated with this concept of reinventing yourself. And so there's Ashley Kelsch's Substack, which is Uneffing Midlife. She calls it the pause. And so she did an episode recently about reinventing yourself. And then there's this book and our podcast episode on it. It's just really fascinating to me, this opportunity to go, who do I want to be? And reconstruct your life in an intentional way, with the wisdom that you have. That's so great. I am interested to, get further into this book, but that's the, Life Reimagined is the name of the book that I'm just recently got. So, what are you reading, watching, listening to?
We together watched Nacho Libre, amongst some other movies. James turned 11 on Friday. His request was watching a bunch of movies together.
Yes.
So we did a Mission Impossible.
Yeah, we did Mission Impossible.
Mission Impossible 3, I think, in particular. Nacho Libre, though, is just one of those you just watch again and again and again.
Classic.
We watched it all together before, but it was just really fun to watch it together.
Fun.
Quote the lines and crack up.
It was just those early and mid-aughts. We watched School of Rock.
School of Rock just the other night. Yeah, that's right.
Because they saw the Minecraft movie and they saw like this Jack Black thing. Let's do all the Jack Black. So the kids love that, and he's just himself in every just making up songs.
Yeah, that's right.
I feel that.
So
I feel
good.
that need to express myself that way. I love that. So what are you loving right now?
I have over the last week stacked up some really meaningful conversations with some guys. Can't really go into detail about some of that stuff, but it's just has been very life-giving and very encouraging. So,
that's so awesome. I love that. That's awesome. Yeah. What I'm loving right now is the room redesign that we finished for James.
Yes, and by we you mean you.
Well, I was the primary visionary.
99.9% of it. Yes,
I was the visionary, and it was so interesting because it was like a full. I mean, we didn't do any structure. It was it was paint and some other things, but very much like a renovation in terms of the feel.
It's a brand new,
very
room.
New look. Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. Window dressing, paint and molding, all these different things, and it just a new theme. Yeah. And sourcing these different pieces. Anyway, so it was so fun to introduce it to him on Friday night on his birthday. And he got to walk in and see so many of things. And then some family members gave him a significant piece
Yes.
to add to it.
Thank you, family members.
Yeah.
We loved it.
Grandmas and grandpas and things like that. So kind of like, a community effort in that way. And it was just really, really cool. Like the feel of it is so fresh. It's like a turquoise blue and white. And just really, he loves it.
Yeah.
And it's just been like a really neat space. And then John was inspired to redesign his room in a similar feel. Not exactly at all the same, but just like
furniture orientation.
The furniture, and just you guys, the feng shui in the kids' rooms is really on point. And so I'm really loving the spaces that we've created for them, and it feels really good.
Yeah.
So go us,
go
me, go most of me. Let's be honest.
That's lit.
Yes. Anyway, so that's been fun. So I hope that you enjoyed this awkward, super fun conversation. Whether you're a man or a woman, you enjoyed this conversation with us today. And if you have other comments or questions, drop them in the comment section, whether you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or watching on YouTube. We'd love to be in this conversation with you. If you think that we should do an episode focused on men's midlife experience, definitely leave us a comment. Let us know. Don't forget to subscribe so that you can hear all the future episodes. And if this one particularly gave you a chuckle, be sure and share it with your people.
Yeah.
So we will see you next week. Have a great week.
Yeah. Bye. This is the In the Middle podcast with Josh and Sarah Siders. Visit inthemiddlecoaching.co for other resources, courses, and helpful tools.